Have you ever worked harder than everyone else, gave it your absolute all, and still felt the cold grip of fear? Have you ever carried responsibilities on your shoulders that felt way too heavy for your age? Have you ever looked into the eyes of the one person who believes in you and felt terrified of disappointing them? If you ever felt calm on the surface but completely broken inside, or if you feel like life is about to test you in a way you aren't ready for, then this story is for you. Today, I'm going to tell you about Ethan. By the end of his journey, you will understand a secret that can change the way you handle pressure forever. Ethan lived in a quiet town where the mornings arrived softly. The sunlight would rest on empty streets and open fields, and life moved at a pace that rarely changed. Everyone knew Ethan. He wasn't the loudest kid, but he was the most disciplined. He was serious, focused, and always moving with a purpose. He lived with his mother in a modest home. Money was tight, always tight. They didn't talk about their struggles much, but the weight of responsibility hung quietly in the air. Ethan felt it every single morning when he saw his mother getting ready for another long, exhausting shift with a tired smile. That smile was his fuel. It pushed him forward when his muscles ached and his mind wanted to quit. Every day before school, Ethan worked a job that demanded everything from him. Early mornings meant heavy steps and aching hands. While other kids were sleeping, Ethan was working. After work, he would rush to his studies, trying to cram hours of learning into moments of pure exhaustion. He was brilliant. He didn't just learn, he understood things deeply. For him, education wasn't just a goal. It was the only exit door from the life of struggle he was living. The people in town noticed him. They had high expectations. And while their hope was kind, it felt like a mountain on Ethan's back. But the pressure started to tighten like a rope. Sleep became a luxury he couldn't afford. He was balancing his life like a piece of fragile glass, praying it wouldn't break. Then the day arrived. The exam results were posted. Ethan looked at the paper and his heart stopped. Failed. The word echoed in his head like a gunshot. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just stood there, staring at the paper as if the ink would change if he looked hard enough. Inside, his confidence collapsed. The smart kid had failed. At home, his mother didn't yell. She didn't ask harsh questions. She simply put her hand on his shoulder. Her silence and her support actually made the guilt worse. He felt like he hadn't just failed a test, he had failed her. Soon, the whisper started. In a small town, news travels fast. When Ethan walked down the street, he felt the eyes on him. People weren't mocking him loudly, but their pity and their quiet judgments felt sharper than knives. He felt exposed. He felt small. One evening, feeling like he couldn't breathe under the weight of his own thoughts, Ethan went to see Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson was an older man, known for his wisdom and his calm presence. Ethan poured his heart out. He talked about the failure, the pressure, the exhaustion, and the voices of the town people that he couldn't stop hearing in his head. Mr. Thompson listened. He didn't offer empty words of comfort. Instead, he gave Ethan a task. "Tomorrow morning," Mr. Thompson said, "I want you to take a cup, fill it to the very brim with water, and walk through the town. Follow your usual path. But there is one condition. Do not spill a single drop." The next morning, Ethan stood at the edge of the town square holding a plain white. The water was so full that it trembled at the edge. One wrong move, one distracted thought, and it would spill. Ethan took his first step. His eyes were locked on the surface of the water. His hands were steady. His breathing became slow and rhythmic. He walked past a cafe where people usually whispered. He walked past the park where his friends were hanging out. He walked through the busiest streets. But something was different. Because his life was focused on that single drop of water, the world around him began to fade. The sounds of the cars became a distant hum. The faces of the people became a blur. He didn't see the judgmental looks. He didn't hear the whispers. The only thing that existed in his universe was the cup and the water. When he finally reached Mr. Thompson, the cup was still perfectly full. "Did you hear the people talking about you today?" Mr. Thompson asked. "No, I was too busy watching the water." "Did you see the people looking at you?" "No," I said. "I only saw the cup." Mr. Thompson smiled. "That is the secret. Focus doesn't make the noise go away. It simply removes the noise's power over you. When your mind is fully committed to your purpose, distractions lose their grip. The world didn't change today, Ethan. You did." In the weeks that followed, Ethan went back to his books. But this time, he wasn't carrying the weight of the town's expectations. He wasn't listening to the what-ifs in his head. He worked with a new kind of peace. He realized that the failure was just a moment, not his identity. He stopped trying to manage the noise and started mastering his focus. When he took the exam again, he didn't just pass, he excelled. Not because the test was easier, but because his mind was clearer. Life is always going to be noisy. People will always have opinions. Failure will occasionally knock on your door. But remember Ethan's cup of water. If you feel overwhelmed, it's because you're looking at the crowd instead of your cup. Whatever your goal is, your career, your dream, your family, hold it with both hands. Focus so deeply that the whispers of the world become a meaningless echo. The world remains the same, but a focused mind changes everything. Stay focused, stay steady, and don't let a single drop fall.